Hello, hello, apa khabar everybody, and welcome to Virtually Peranakan Fest 2022, celebrating our colourful culture. This is our third edition of this online Peranakan festival organised by Peranakan Sayang, and we're very happy to see all of you, our Sayangs from around the world. Kamsia very much for joining us. Please do say hello and where you're watching this stream from in the comments section. We'll very much love to hear from you. My name is Alvin Un, and it's a pleasure to host this session, and this is a one that is very interesting because it involves about our culture. It's about our past and our future, and how do we manage this, and what's your opinions on this. So it's a lot of discussion going on, and to share this discussion with me, I have my co-hosts coming in from Malacca. Of course, we have once again Baba Cedric Tan. Hello, Baba. Apa khabar?
Hello. Once again, selamat petang. You had your tea already, Alvin? I just finished mine.
I just baru minum air. Bukan tea, air. So on this topic of our Peranakan culture, do we cling on to the past or do we look ahead to the future? What's your opinion on this?
I think I'll rather leave that question open to the younger generation to answer. I think people like us already, we call it one step on the grave, and the other steps to people over, So let them talk about it, yeah, and then we listen in.
Okay, so let's introduce our speaker, shall we?
Right. So Baba Lee Yuen Thien, I think he's one of the next generation of Peranakan who are very passionate about our culture and also tradition. He's currently the general manager of the Baba Nyonya Heritage Museum in Malacca, and also the vice president, one of the vice presidents in the Persatuan Peranakan Baba Nyonya Malaysia, also based in Malacca. So he's also renowned for his practices in Baba Nyonya culture. So I'm not going to take much of time. So let's bring him on this time, and let's show to everybody who's Baba Lee Yuen Thien.
Lee Yuen Thien, everybody. Hello, Baba.
Hai. Apa khabar semua?
Wow, good to see you. How are you feeling? Ada baik
good.
tak?
Baik.
So good to see you. So you've chosen to share this topic about our culture, whether we should be going forward or clinging on to the past. What is your inspiration behind it?
I've been with the museum and also with the association for quite a number of years. Yeah. So for us at the association, we are trying very much to actually preserve our culture, and people keep actually asking, so how are we going to attract? The problem is that we can do many things, but we sort of fail to attract the younger generation, which that is a very big question mark. Yeah, I think most associations face the same problem, whereby our younger generation tend to not be interested in our whatever things that we are doing. So perhaps because of that, and also when I'm working at the museum, people always ask, when after visiting the museum, so they have this impression that every Baba and Nyonya family would be living in houses like the museum. You see, so they will ask me, then your house is also like this because I know.
But that's Cedric's house, like a museum.
You're talking
exactly. But not everyone would be like Cedric,
Yeah, for people like me, this is all fake, all green screen. That's all I have.
By the way, I'm still in the museum, so whatever behind me belongs to the Chan family, not mine.
Very good.
Yeah, so I have this very big question mark with me when people ask, so what is it like being Baba Nyonya today? Do you still live in houses like the museum? So if you don't live in houses like, the museum, then would you consider yourself as a Baba or a Nyonya today? Yeah, so that was why it made me actually ponder on this question as to whether should we cling on to the past. Yeah, that is very much talked about. When we look at books, we always, when we look at Peranakan books, Baba Nyonya books, we always discuss about our past. How is it like in the past? How our forefathers lived, at one time. But then I think very few discuss about our present and also our future. Yeah, I think which brought me to this juncture where I think it is also equally as important for us to remember our past and at the same time, yeah, uh, look into what we can do to bring this past forward instead of we putting ourselves trapped in our past and just linger in the past. Yeah, so that was why I came to this. All of us have this dilemma in us, I
Yes,
suppose.
that's right.
Yeah.
So that's great. So we won't hold you back. Let's start with your
Mm.
presentation. For those of you watching this stream, do share your comments and what you feel about the state of our culture and what we should be doing. Or do you feel that, it's over and there's no more future? So we'll leave it to Lee Yuen Thien to share his opinion on this matter.
Okay. Now, when we talk about Baba and Nyonya, like I've mentioned just now, yeah, when we talk about Peranakan and we talk about Baba and Nyonya, most of the time we would be talking about like, architecture, like what the museums portray. Yeah. And at the same time also we would talk about meticulous practices and also our heritage, whereby we would always refer to old photographs of our ancestors. It is a good reminder, yeah, for us to remember, to know at least of our past. It is very important for us to know our past because without our past, we would not be here. We are here because of our past. But then again, I think that many of us are very much inclined towards what the past is like. Yeah, like I've spoken to quite a number of Peranakan members of the Peranakan community. They always say that, oh, it is no longer the same now. Yeah, they often also say that Peranakan would one day just die off or fade away. Why? I think they have got this benchmark whereby to be a Peranakan or to be a Baba and Nyonya, it should be like what our grandfathers or grandmothers once lived like. Like for example, many ask students, especially when they come to the museum, they ask me, how can they identify a Baba and Nyonya individual today? Because if we look at, they said to them, it's very difficult for them to actually identify. They don't know, until they talk to them, they ask. So many, like them and also our own members of our own community would say that, oh, our culture is dying because nobody is wearing the kebaya anymore on a daily basis, Yeah, same goes for my family. Only my grandma would be putting on kebaya and sarong every day, yeah. But then, does this mean that our identity, our culture, and our heritage would just die off? Yeah, many say, yeah lah, our culture would just die. People don't speak for us in Malacca. People don't speak the patois anymore. Yeah, those in Penang, probably you still speak your Penang Baba Hokkien, I suppose. But in Malacca, many of us either speak English or those were sent to Chinese school would speak Mandarin. Yeah, many have forgotten somehow the patois that we're supposed to be speaking at home. But then again, this is not something. Nobody is to be blamed. Yeah, because it's just so happened that our patois itself, don't find people don't see any relevance in keeping that particular language still. Yeah, because language is something alive. If you don't use it, no matter what you do, people don't see a purpose in preserving the language and using it, then the language will just fade away. Yeah, will just die off. But then again, does this mean that our culture would die? Yeah. A lot of people also don't smayang anymore today, or they simplify it. But does it mean that, if you don't smayang, you don't worship your ancestors, or you don't do semang tikung, you don't worship to the Jade Emperor anymore, does this mean that you're not a Baba anymore? or a Nyonya? Yeah. So this is a question that a lot of people actually throw to me. And sometimes it's good for us to also look back at our identity. Yeah, a lot of us always ask, so what exactly is a Peranakan or a Baba Nyonya identity? Must someone be wearing, kebaya? Yeah? Or must that particular person, for example, this photographs here, this particular photograph on the right, yeah, is of my grandparents on their wedding day. How many of us would still be, having this kind of when you get married, you will be going through this kind of ceremony or be putting on this kind of costume. I don't think many of us would still go through this kind of ceremony. Yes, I think in Malacca and KL, sometimes I do see one or two couples that would actually be putting on costumes like this. Yeah, perhaps in honor of their Peranakan lineage. But then again, does it mean that if you don't put this on, you no longer is a Baba or a Nyonya? Yeah, and then also when we talk about identity, yeah, of course, the identity that we have today is very different from what our forefathers used to be. Like I've said, like the language itself, attire, how many would still be wearing kebaya if not for conventions, not for attending Peranakan dinner and dance. Everybody will be wearing that, yeah, when it comes to Peranakan related events or celebrations. But on a daily basis, does it mean that we would be Peranakan when it comes to festivals or celebrations or when we have events on other days? Then we are not Peranakan anymore because we don't put on kebaya. Yeah. So these are things that we often I think it's lack of attention that we should actually look into. Yeah. How do we want to portray ourselves today with regards to all these cultural elements around us? We try very hard to maintain all this, but then is it practical? How many of us would be wearing kebaya at least once a week? I know the staff in OCBC Bank would do that. They have a specific day. Yeah. How many of us, yeah, you ask yourself, would be putting on kebaya? Yeah. So things like this, makes me wonder, where are we heading towards? If we say that, oh, there are no more Baba and Nyonya, we are still around. Until today, we are still around here, alive and kicking. Yeah. So what, so these things that actually make me wanted to share the topic today. Yeah. So it comes down to traditional versus modern. Yeah. Look at this slide that I've projected here. Now, sorry if I offend anybody. Yeah, because a lot of us would say that, oh, if you don't tumbuk your chili, then you won't make good sambal belacan. Now a lot of us, even my mom, she would just blend her rempah. I remembered she used to pound and giling the rempah when I was like 10 years old. Yeah. After that, I don't remember seeing her giling, the rempah anymore. I think my batu giling so went don't know where. Yeah, somewhere around the house. Okay. The lesung, I still see her using it once in a while, but most of the time she'll be using this blender. But does it mean that she don't cook Nyonya dishes anymore? Even if she does, then it is not considered as Nyonya dishes because she don't use this lesung. Yeah. So this is something that we should consider, because now we are living in a modern era where we have got all these technology around us that would make our life easier. We have to accept that all the Nyonyas are working today. Yeah. Not everyone have got the time to actually prepare meals. Like when you get back home, it's already like 6 or 7, and then you have to cook for dinner. That is almost quite impossible if you are still to pound. So I think we have to acknowledge all these changes around us. And this is what that form our current Baba Nyonya identity. Yeah, it is still a sambal belacan. It is still a bowl of laksa, irrespective if the rempah, the spices were blended or were pounded using that lesung. Yeah, so this that is my take on our culture, and many more, not just rempah. Yeah, many more. I believe it is something that is very important for us to always bear in mind. We have to have this balance. We have to negotiate what we should bring from the past into the current livelihood, and then the same thing that we would be handing it down to the next generation. That is very important. Yeah. Same goes for this. A lot of many of us, I think, would say that oh, this now there's many reproduction porcelains, yeah, in the market. Then many would say that, oh, it's not authentic. You must use the old one, the old Shanghai. Then only is authentic. But then, if you think of it again, if how many of us can afford? It's very expensive now, as you know. How many of us can afford to use antique plates? But then, if you know, have got this, have got access to all these reproduction, yeah, knowing that they are reproduction, of course, and use it, once in a while, take it out on special occasions, and also maybe when it comes to Chinese New Year, weddings, and also perhaps worshipping, use it. Then there is a continuation of this material culture, because to use all the antique wares or antique Shanghai, I don't think it's even possible today. Yeah, like the ones that I my family don't have many. We only got a few. Yeah, that also I would hardly actually take it out. It would all be in the cupboard, because why? If I ever to chip one single piece or break them, I was like, oh! Okay, my ancestors was like, I would imagine them, why you break our pinggan mangkok? Yeah, so I would rather use these new ones. Yeah, so this would actually is actually in a way is good. Of course, you know that they are reproduction and acquire them at the reproduction price, of course. Yeah, it's a good continuation, I believe. Rather than calling it fake, I think reproduction is the more appropriate term, whereby it is made for today's generation for us to use, and perhaps this would continue in the future, that people actually continue to make this kind of porcelains, not just porcelains, furniture as well, and also kebaya and jewelry. Yeah, so the current generation and future generation would also have the opportunity to enjoy this aspect of our culture. Okay. And likewise, homes. Yeah, people always interview me when they ask, so in Peranakan homes, or Baba Nyonya homes, we have a particular feature, is it? Like houses like these? I say yes, it's of the past. Yeah, the Peranakans or the Baba and Nyonyas in the past lived in houses, pre-war houses like these, like the museums. Yeah, also in Penang, you have all the beautiful mansions. Not to say like my house, my family, we live in wooden plank house, not as beautiful as this, but then they share the same layout and stuff like that. But then, does this mean that today, yeah, how many of us, of course, like Cedric, would still be living in houses like that? But how many of us today, Baba and Nyonya, still live in houses like this? Okay? I suppose most of us would be living in terrace houses or bungalows, yeah, modern houses like this. I don't think it's relevant anymore to be living in houses like the museum. It's so big. You need, like I was told by Uncle Henry, that they have got 8 maids, servants at one time to help them to maintain the house. How many of us have the leisure to actually have 8 maids today? Even one is very difficult to maintain houses like this. Yeah. So most of us are working, I think we have to accept that we are living in a modern society, irrespective whether we are Baba and Nyonya or not. All the modern society would most would be living in houses like this. Yeah. So does this means that we are no more Baba and Nyonya because we don't live in a house like the Baba Nyonya Museum or the Penang Peranakan Mansion? Yeah, I believe we are still proudly a Baba and a Nyonya. Yeah, even living in houses like this, like modern houses. So thinking back again, of course, if we have got some furniture, some cupboards, from our ancestors, we would actually place them in our modern homes, yeah, to remind us of the past. This is what I meant. To move forward doesn't mean that you must discard away your antique furniture, your old furniture that you inherited. Yeah, you can still place them, repurpose them in your modern homes. So that is what I meant by moving forward. We bring part of our past, certain part of our past, repurpose them today, to make sure that they still stay relevant in today's society. And then from there, we have hope to also bring them forward to our future. Yeah. Okay, another example, like I've mentioned just now, our living rooms. If you look at all the old pre-war houses, like the Baba House, like the Penang Peranakan Mansion, and also Baba Nyonya Heritage Museum in Malacca, they all have got all these very beautiful ornate carvings and stuff. But then again, how many of us will be living in houses like this? Yeah, most of us would be living in houses like this. Yeah, but then it would be beautiful. I think to bring part of our past to be included in our modern environment. Yeah, so that was what I meant by moving forward rather than clinging onto the past. My mother have always got this her own understanding. She will often, like she don't agree with me where I like to actually keep old things. She would say, "Apa mau simpan ni barang semua lama-lama?" So when I actually, collect certain items, she would make noise. Yo, why you like to keep all this rubbish? Yeah. But then I've always, after some time, then she would say, when I put it, maybe I use it, I repurpose it, decorate it, to perhaps like a kamcheng or what. I just put it, use it as a flower pot or flower vase, something like that to decorate a corner. Then she would say, very cantik, very nice. Then I was like, At one point of time, you say they are rubbish. Yeah. So I think we should repurpose it so that these items would have a place in our modern society rather than being just something of the past and is useless. A lot of, maybe we appreciate things like this, but there are also many that like my mom. She don't appreciate things. She will say, apa barang buruk ni semua mau simpan. She often tell me, what is there to keep all this rubbish? Yeah, she and my brother. Okay, so I think we should sometimes repurpose it, put it to use, perhaps as a decoration piece, or something, and also to educate that these are pieces from our ancestors to remind us of our past, to treasure it. Then perhaps they would gain a place in the future. Okay, same goes for other elements or other aspect of our culture, like the food aspect as well. Yeah, I think the food aspect is doing quite well. Many of us would still want to eat Nyonya cuisine or like guacamole and stuff like that. But then the other aspect of it, like the language, is fading. But then again, whether or not for us to actually cling to it, oh, we should do the old way, we should do this, we should do that, then sometimes it's very difficult. Not many families can actually afford to do what we are doing, like how we do it in the past. Like for example, the process of making kueh bakul, yeah, for Chinese New Year. My family will still do it traditionally, using firewood because we have got space at the back. But how many more people in living in the modern homes can actually do it? Huh? Most of us would just order, right? Yeah. So my parents still insist to do it once a year. They said, "Oh, this is a tradition that they enjoy doing." Yeah. So how many can still do it? But then again, if you can change it, instead of using firewood, yeah, we have got now gas stove. Yeah, you use gas stove, to steam the kueh bakul. It would still be a kueh bakul, whether you use firewood uh, or a gas stove. Yeah? Same goes for our cooking. Yeah, if we look at the kitchen in the museum, all of them, would be using firewood. Yeah? But most, if not all of us today, use gas stove or modern induction stove to cook. So does that mean that we no longer is Baba Nyonya because we don't use firewood like how our forefathers do? Yeah. So these are negotiation that we must actually consider what to bring from the past, like I've mentioned just now, to the current day and next into the future. Yeah. So we must not frighten our younger generation, our current generation, yeah, of Baba Nyonya uh, to continue to practice or to live like one. For example, I've always mentioned this, like the kebaya. Many of us would disagree that kebaya should be worn with pants or jeans. A kebaya should be worn with sarung. That is how it is traditionally. But then again, if you insist the younger generation that kebaya should only be worn with a sarung, then you would somehow discourage them to actually put on this attire. Yeah, I would rather see people, wearing kebaya at least once a week to offices with their pants. Yeah, rather than not at all. Rather than once a year during Chinese New Year or attending the Peranakan dinner and dance, even if they attend. Yeah, so to keep the culture alive, I think we have to accept some modern adjustment that should be taken. Like for example, last week, yeah, we made a trip to KL. The association actually made a trip to KL, and being representatives of the Peranakan Association, I actually text them in the group saying that Yonyas, kindly put on your kebaya and sarung if you can, yeah, because we are visiting the director of Dewan Bahasa dan Pustaka. But then, some Nyonya say that it's not possible because we would be riding in the van the entire day. You see? But some actually put it on with pants first, and then they change again to the sarung when we arrive at the meeting place. Yeah. So I think we must accept that the Nyonyas today were given given a choice to pick whether or not to put on a pants or a sarung. But like my grandmother in the past, I've never seen a grandma in a pants before. Yeah, all her life she would be doing all the activities, all the house chores in sarung and kebaya, which I don't see her complain that is very leceh. In fact, she said that wearing pants is very leceh. Yeah, so I think this is something that our modern society now, are facing because we are living in this environment. We have to accept, yeah, that now is different. Yeah, so if you look at Baba Nyonya in the past, it's very different from Baba Nyonya of today. But does it mean that we are no longer Baba and Nyonya because we are not like our forefathers? Yeah. Now I would like to actually think back again. If our forefathers that came from China did not make the changes that they took, where they adjusted to the local lifestyles, where they actually, adopt Malay culture, Western colonial culture into their livelihoods, then I don't think they would be Baba Nyonya today. They would just be Chinese people living out of China. The very fact that they made the alteration, the adaptation, the changes, at that point of time, created the colorful hybrid that is Baba Nyonya, that we know as Baba Nyonya or Peranakan today. So why are we so afraid to face all the changes that we are facing now? We cannot avoid the pressure of the 21st century. Rather than going against it or resist the changes, why not we embrace it? Yeah, and at the same time, use it to our advantage to bring parts of the past, like how our forefathers actually kept their Chinese heritage, like the ancestral worship, which they think was the core of their identity, of their culture at that point of time. And, they felt like perhaps the language part wasn't that important, perhaps for survival or what. They spoke the Baba Patois or the similar to Malay language, So it became, in a way, formed their identity at that point of time. And they actually hand that entire heritage to us. And I think it is up to us today to do further adjustment or alteration to that identity that has been handed down by our forefathers. And, with all these different influences that we see around us today, that sometimes we cannot avoid. Like, for instance, our last time back home, we don't have electricity. So we have electricity today. Why not we use this to our advantage? If all of us still use the dulu kala way, the old method, I think all of us wouldn't be sitting in front of our computer screen or our mobile phones to be part of the virtual this Peranakan virtual festival today. So these are positive changes that we should make full use of, to propagate, to promote, and also to preserve our culture for the future generation. So I don't think that our culture would just die off, or it would just end here. I would see that it is taking another form, another evolution to what to the next level, to what it would be. I think it is up to what we would want it to be. So we should be playing active role at the house, on our household level, to at least create awareness, so that we know, we are aware that in the past, this is how it is. Currently, we cannot be doing what our forefathers have been doing. We made some adjustment. These are the adjustment. For example, last time we smayang, 12 bowls of dishes. How to prepare that 12 bowls? Some families cut down to 8, and most families now cut down to only 4, even if you still carry out that tradition. So these are information that we should be telling our current generation, that it used to be 12, then 8, then it became 4. But then again, we should not tell them that, you shouldn't be doing this, because the proper way is 12 or 8. 4 is shortcut. Actually, we should encourage them. Even shortcut or simplified, because we have to accept all of us have to work today. Like myself, when my house have to perform all this ancestral worship, I have to actually apply leave. to apply leave to help my parents, my family to actually prepare for the worshipping. Yeah. So this is what I meant by continuation and renewal. If you look at the photographs, yeah, we cannot force the current generation, the current society to be living in houses like the museum. Yeah. But we should, encourage them to bring parts, yeah, of the past that we are familiar with, like the tiles that used to be decorated in, homes of our grandfathers, yeah, or the furniture, or the glass, certain elements from the past. We should bring this, yeah, to the current household setting, and it is good to also expose it to our current generation, to say that, oh, these tiles or this kind of furniture used to be part of your akong's house. Yeah. So this is to remind them that this is part of their past. Sometimes we just take things for granted. Yeah. And I've heard stories that people actually gave away old furniture because they think that it's very difficult to clean them. Yeah, they donated it to temples, give to neighbors sometimes, because it's very hard to clean, and they prefer modern furniture. And after 2 generations, they regretted. Yeah, so things like that, I think it's very important for us to bring forth. And at the same time, people like my mother, yeah, although she's 1 generation before me, but she think that we should not cling onto all these old stuff. Yeah, but I think it's very important, yeah, to share with her the importance in giving a new breath to all these old furniture, old kitchen utensils, yeah, so that it would still remain relevant in today's society. Same goes for other aspect of our culture, yeah, like the attire. Instead of just wearing it for Peranakan dinner or a wedding or family wedding or Chinese New Year, encourage them to put it on to offices, yeah, and that would actually, I think, give hope to our next generation, which comes down to my last slide, yeah, where I've mentioned just now, yeah, awareness is very important for us to create at home, yeah, because if many of us say that, oh no, the associations should play active role in promoting, in preserving the culture. Yes, we can plan 1001 activities, but if you don't bring your children to the association, or you yourself don't come and join the activities, then I think it deserves the purpose. Yeah? And with awareness, then I think there would be hope for our heritage, for our culture to continue to flourish, yeah, to continue to evolve, to take another form. Yeah, that awareness is the starting point, because we cannot force everyone. Like myself, people know that I make chanap, but can you force everyone to make chanap? If you don't, does it mean that you are not a Baba? No. But if you have this awareness, then then perhaps in the future, there are people who are interested in continuing this art of making chanap, for example, or doing the kebaya, the embroidery. Then there is hope for our culture to continue. Yeah. So with that, I thank everyone for staying with me for more than half an hour. And I hope with that, all of us would play a very active role in keeping our culture alive, and make sure that it would be handed down to the next generation, and they are interested in playing a part in preserving our culture.
Thank you very much, Thien, for that presentation. Of course, it's a very subjective matter. Everybody has different opinions on this, but what is important is we keep an open mind and we move forward. Just to highlight some comments from our viewers before we end this session. We have Carol. She thinks that it's the passion for our culture that makes you different. our culture, from the food, our language, our sopan santun, our etiquette, our clothes, we must keep alive somehow. We can modernize, but we still do it hand in hand together, I believe. And she is a blender user. That's so funny, right? And Ali, we says that we must evolve, adapt, and keep elements of our culture that has been eclectic existence. Now we have Boon Song, who has good comments as well. When the language dies, a way of understanding the world dies with it. A way of looking at the world, which is a quotation. And he believes that he agrees that our lifestyle has changed, but language is still very crucial for our identity. What do you think about this, Cedric?
I think language is the soul of a culture, because the way we speak, the way we describe certain things using your patois, your understanding and your connection to that particular object or to that particular subject topic may take on a different light as compared to maybe on if you speak it in English, for that matter. That's the reason why that patois, I would say our patois is kind of considered an important facet as a form of our identity. But unfortunately, like our speaker said just now, people are not seeing that relevance there already. In the past, it used to be a major trading language, but not now.
Yes.
Now, I think English and Mandarin has come to the fore already.
Yes, definitely. Language only survives if there's a use for it. If there's no use for it, it dies a natural death. But having said that,
it's not a cultural language, not a language of trade,
of commerce, yeah,
it will die faster, definitely.
That's right. But having excuse me, having said that, our language has also evolved over time. From the very first generation that came here to the subsequent generations, it has also evolved. And I mean, as I always mention, we are never comfortable with change. Change is always very uncomfortable for anybody and at any time. So it's a time of change that we are part of. More comments. Fully agree with the speaker, need to adapt and adjust, but may still face challenges for the next generation, definitely so. And Lynn thinks that we still can create a museum, plus with warm hearts at home. It's beautiful with greater interior design added. I guess this is the modern take of how a Peranakan home should be, Thien?
Yes. Like I've said just now, not many people will appreciate items like this. But again, if we add elements of our past into the modern setting, I think many people can actually accept it. Yeah, rather than saying that, oh no, this furniture cannot blend into modern, like the mother of pearl furniture, for instance. Yeah, if you keep saying that it cannot blend into a modern living room, then I think we put a limit there for this part of our heritage to be present in the modern context. But then if we are open to it, if it is beautifully done, I think it serves as a good reminder of our past, and it would still stay relevant in the modern society, which I think it would have a promising future. And it encourages the manufacturer to continue producing furnitures and porcelains and also other perhaps embroideries that reminds us of our past. Or else, nobody makes it anymore. Nobody wants it. No, there's no need to make them. Then even in the future, if you have the capability, you cannot have access to it. So I think it is important for the current generation to actually appreciate things from the past and bring forward, all these things, all these elements that we can to our current livelihood. And this would actually encourage all the other industries to keep producing on the, like, for example, tiles.
So that if there's a demand, there's a supply. So that's the commercial part of it. And Teresa has chimed in and said that she's been encouraging her nieces to don the tengsa. But can we do away with the sanggol, because it's quite difficult, and because they got short hair. But as Christopher says that why not, after all, not many these days know how to don the sanggol anymore. And his opinion, those who attempt create a mess of their hair. So this is again an evolution because of hairstyles. Because last time I
Correct.
think they all kept long hair, so it's easier. But these days with the more modern fashion styles, they don't have long hair, so it's not possible to
Modern sanggol.
modern sanggol. Maybe we have a attachment lah, you know.
I'd
Something
like
lah.
to ask a question. I'd like to ask a question to the speaker. Would you consider yourself to be a conservative, a modernist, progressive, or somewhere in between?
I don't think myself is a conservative, Baba, altogether. Yeah. Progressive or not, maybe there. I try to, because I have to accept that we all now live in a modern society. Yeah. So because I work in the museum, so many of my friends thought that I'm very old-fashioned. Yeah. But then again, if you look at our livelihood, I don't think I'm that old-fashioned per se. Yeah, I'm very open to all the modern changes. I appreciate all this modern creation, but with a touch of our past, which I think is very good to keep our culture alive, rather than asking this younger generation to use old stuff. Why not new creation that has got old elements? Yeah, this would I think make a space for our things that we cherish to continue to be relevant in the current society and also in the future, or else it would just, I think, die off. Yeah.
All right.
I think I don't hear Alvin.
Yeah, I can't hear you, Alvin.
Unmute yourself.
Sorry, just yeah,
I
too
thought
many
I
things
was
going
listening.
on.
I was
Yeah.
Something went wrong
So
with the line.
yeah. So Noreen is chiming in from Chiang Mai. So what she says is important for us to take small steps to keep our culture going, because not everybody can live the total life of a old Baba Nyonya lifestyle and all that. So I think it's important to have that attitude. Okay. I think that's all the time that we have, because we need to move on and get ready for our next session, which promises to
Then
be
like Sanggol.
a very a very fun and exciting session that is going on later on. So I hope that you all can join us. But please I'd like to thank our presenter for this session, Lee Yuen Thien. Thank you so much for your time and your
Awesome.
thoughts on this matter. And I think it's something that we all should think about. And of course, my fellow co-host, Baba Cedric Tan, once again, thank you so much for being with us in this particular session. Well, everybody, that's the end of this session that we've presented with Lee Yuen Thien. I hope you enjoyed it and do have some thought about it. We're moving on to our last presentation of our Virtually Peranakan Fest, happening very shortly at 5 p.m. And this is our fun session called Mari Hua Hi, that we always have fun at our very last presentation. And it's going to be great because there's lots of songs, entertainment, laughs, and this is what we always do. And we're going to have Bibi Lanyo, we're going to have Nyonya Phoenix Emily, we've got Babas Along Asraf, Cedric Tan, and of course myself, and this is all going to be happening soon. It is called Mari Hua Hi. So we're going to invite everybody to have a good time with us. So my name is Baba Alvin Un. This has been Virtually Peranakan Fest 2022. We'll see you soon.